Gary, a couple of days after our first loss for season 2017 on Saturday night against Casey. You've had about 48 hours to digest it. What's the mood like upon reflection?
Oh, obviously one of disappointment really, Sam. You know, you want to be able to play a brand of footy that is reasonably consistent and solid, and I don't think we were able to do that. Now obviously that's taken credit away from Casey because they'd come off probably their worst loss for quite some time, and obviously their coach had given them a little bit of curry during the week. We came off a really, really good win and probably one of our best wins for quite some time. So I thought our preparation throughout the week wasn't what I would have liked, so I did have some concerns about going into the game, but you go in and think, well, 5 goals to 4-4 in the first quarter, and the way we're able to move the ball better in the second half of the first quarter, but in the second quarter they completely dominated, and I felt we were getting beaten in and around the stoppages. Their clearance work was really sharp and crisp, and I thought their spread was pretty positive. They were getting repeat entries. Our defence, which I thought did a magnificent job really over the course of the game, but if they aren't getting any connection from our mids and our forwards, well, it's pretty difficult to then withstand the avalanche. And even by half-time, we still had a chance to go in maybe a goal down, but we missed a shot on goal. I think Sammy Dwyer hit the post, I think, from memory. And then in the third quarter, tactically, we were trying to do a few things and we were able to hold up okay. Our only real winning forward was probably Dylan Conway, really. And then even at the start of the last, we come out and kicked the first goal and we got ourselves into another position with Dylan Conway taking a mark. But then, of course, pressure makes us do silly things, and unfortunately Eli did a silly thing. And then, of course, from that point on, we just seemed to have lost some momentum and we just didn't have a lot of good players on the night, and Casey went away in the end.
You've sort of touched on it already, but do you subscribe to any type of theories behind the reasons for the loss, such as the fact that our boys had maybe been up for a while, we could have possibly had one eye on this weekend's state game bye to follow, or we came up against a pretty fired up and well-prepared opposition, or perhaps even a small combination of some of those?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all those, mate, because what you do when you're winning is the opposition will go into your game plan and your ball movement style, and they'll dissect it a fair bit. And when you're flying under the radar, you probably don't become as noticed as what you would. So we'd won 5. We'd obviously beaten last year's premiers. So no doubt Casey did their homework. They came in with some really good plans. Not to say that we didn't have plans, and anything that they threw at us was certainly made well aware to the playing group. And I don't believe that I anyway subscribe to the theory that you're up for a while. This is the way this game is. You've just got to keep dragging yourself up, getting yourself into a position where you look at what you can do, and certainly the result in the end was about, I think, a side that proved to be hungry, proved to have a sting in their tail, and we played somewhat, oh well, we're going okay, we've won 5 in a row, whether it's a subconscious thing or not, but we certainly were beaten in a lot of positions. There was very little activity once we lost the ball, and that probably says to me that some guys went in with, I think, the mindset that, okay, we just keep doing what we're doing, but it changes every week, and we didn't change accordingly, and we probably got what we deserved.
And for the Development League, they fought hard to get another win. Do you think if ever there was a time for a loss for the senior side, do you take a positive out of the fact that they've now got an extra week to stew over it, as well as refresh and refocus on our next block? But in addition, you and the coaches can now assess what our overall best 23 is going to look like for the Box Hill game, which is going to be another big test.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair point. We've got 2 weeks now to think about, and we'll make some change, there's no doubt about that. We unfortunately had 3 changes, all due to either illness or injury last week, and obviously when we're asking players to step up, some do, some don't. And we've certainly got some guys in the development team, as you said, that are toiling away and playing accordingly. And whether it's Izzy Conway or whether it's Lee Osborne or whether it's Josh Tynan or Alex Urban or Scotty Clark, Shannon Lang, you know, Shane Valenti, there's certainly some really good talent there, and the combination with what we had on Saturday night against Casey obviously wasn't the right combination because we lost. So whenever we lose, we go into it and say, well, was it just one of those once-offs? Did we contribute to it internally because of the lack of pressure we applied to ourselves, or was it the opposition? And I think it was a combination of all those, mate.
And obviously we'll have a few of our boys representing Victoria in Saturday's state game, who we wish all the very best. But what will the week look like for the rest of the group from a training point of view?
Yeah, we'll go about tonight, mate. We'll have a skills session and we'll do a debrief. Obviously, as you said, the development side had a good win. We'll certainly look at Wednesday's training session and have a really good hit out there. Sorry, my alarm's going off, mate, so it's telling me something. And we'll only train Monday and Wednesday this week. Obviously, the state boys are going to be required to attend state training and see if they're able to get into that final 23. And we'll come back after Wednesday's session next Monday. And yeah, look forward to gearing up again against Box Hill, because we'll be home and obviously we need to rebound pretty quickly.
Well, Gary, thanks for your time as always. Bad luck on Saturday night's loss, but all the best for the next week or so, and he's hoping for that quick bounce back against Box Hill in round 7.
Thanks, Sammy.